Hello, you're watching Proactive London. I'm joined by George Bennett, the CEO of Rainbow Rare Earths. George, you're up with an update on your pilot plant operations for your Palabora Rare Earths project, and it continues to look positive after that 70-day pilot test.
Yes, thanks. We're very encouraged. We ran the pilot plant for far longer than originally anticipated, for a total of 70 days, as you have pointed out. And the reason being is that during the piloting, we recognize some key optimization opportunities. And with that, we ran the pilot plant far longer. But those optimization opportunities have delivered very, very good results, as we've footprinted in our RNS this morning.
And of course, they also supports the fact that Palabora will be one of the lowest cost magnet rare earth projects, right, George?
That's correct. We know that these pilot tests have confirmed largely what we had in our preliminary economic assessment that we published in October 22, which is that we've got a very, very low OPEX. Our recovery, in fact, has improved, which is quite unusual. Projects often see a slip in recovery from a PEA to actual piloting or actual DFS, but our recovery has gone from 65 to 66% overall, which is very positive. And as I said, we've seen some key optimizations which lead us to anticipate that in the DFS, our CapEx and our overall OPEX will be more or less in line with the accuracy of the PEA that we published in October 22.
George, in the meantime, you plan to release an interim report in the second half of this year to update the economics. What will that interim report reflect?
We expect an interim report to reflect and take into account these optimizations that we've seen, these positive optimization. In other words, we've been able to reduce our leach circuit by 25%, gone from 8 tanks and originally to 6 tanks. We've been able to reduce our heating requirements for the Palabora project by 50%, which is obviously a big saving. We've been able to reduce our CCL circuit, that's our countercurrent leach circuit, from 12 countercurrent leach tanks down to 6 countercurrent leach tanks. That's a 50% saving. And remember, these are very, very big leach tanks. So you're talking about, stainless steel, which is an expensive material, a big reduction in the quantities there, reduction in pumping, reduction in screening, piping, and all sorts. And also we've also conducted a materials of construction study during the pilot plant, and we've realized that we can use a lower grade of stainless steel than what was and a lower grade of materials of construction that we had in the PEA, like Hastelloy we had in the PEA, which is a very, very expensive material of construction. We can use a lower quality material that actually performs better than Hastelloy, which also bring in savings. So the updated report that we will release in the second half of this year will take all those into account and will basically confirm the improvements in capital and also in OPEX that we are foreseeing.
Will you be able to also then start proceeding with that project financing as you move towards that DFS next year?
Yes, so we intend to use this updated number ahead of the final DFS numbers coming out to launch our project financing. And bearing into account, we'll also be doing further optimization during this period in 2 key areas. One is the baking of our material in the PEA, and we had a bake period of 7 to 8 hours using a typical kiln. We've identified and we're piloting an infrared-based continuous baking system through an infrared baking tunnel, and it will reduce our baking time to 1 hour, which will lead to obviously further CapEx and OPEX savings. And we're also optimizing 2 key reagents, which is our lime and our sulfuric acid. These are 2 very key reagents, and we're busy optimizing the quantities and the pricing of these reagents, which will significantly impact the project on a positive note.
George, I hope you'll keep us posted on any progress. Thank you very much for the update today.
I'd just like to add one last area, which is the results out of KTech as well, which have been very positive. We've seen on the second pass through the ion chromatography, we've now achieved over 96% purity, which is very, very encouraging because we're targeting 99.5% purity. And then we went and we And that was the second part of the material that we put through Ion Exchange, and we reported on these results in early February this year. We've now optimized the first pass through the Ion Exchange and the ion chromatography. And on the first pass, we've achieved 95% purity on the first pass. Remember, we're going through a further 2 stages of ion chromatography to get to our 99.5% target. So to achieve 95% on a first pass through the ion chromatography is very positive and very excited. So we know we've got the right technology, it's going in the right direction, and we anticipate the final results shortly, which will confirm that we can achieve our 99.5% purity as we set out originally in the PEA. Thank you very much.
George, good speaking with you again. George Bennett, the CEO of Rainbow Rare Earths.